So
Absolutely.
let's talk. Okay, so in terms of it may not be a sustainable model, but you two, I guess, believe that that first feature can become a calling card for many other things, right? And in a sense, you're investing in your long-term career, or either you're investing in kind of the long-term relationships with certain filmmakers or people, right?
Yeah.
And that remains.
Well, for me,
achievable.
90% of my projects are first-time feature filmmakers. There's very few producers in Canada that have an appetite to take on somebody who hasn't made a feature yet. And, these directors and writers are our future. And I support that. And, somebody gave me a break one day, and I felt that it's important to help other people make their films. And we are making really good films now. Never before have we seen the number of films that are getting great attention, getting Oscar consideration and things like that. We have a great pool and talented pool of writers and directors like Richie and many others out there that are creating great work, and people need to go see them. And I believe that. So there is a future in our business. I really believe it.
Can I ask a question
Mm-hmm.
to you guys? By show of hands, is everyone here looking to produce or direct or write their first feature? Primarily, I guess, first. So, I guess, again, my point of view on that is a couple things. You only get one first feature your whole life, right? Which means there's a certain amount of goodwill you're going to get in this business on your first feature, in every aspect. People will forgive its final product. Oh, it's a first feature, he has potential, she has potential. Or they'll open the door, if you're a young filmmaker, you can ask the stupidest questions, you've never done this before, all kinds of stuff. You only get that once. So one thing, and somebody had told me that when I was developing another feature film. Almo was my third or fourth feature script, and those first three were fucking terrible. So if I had actually gone through with any of those, I'd be in real trouble right now. Because somebody had told me this advice, I kind of said to myself, okay, well, when I go into this feature world, I have to go into it armed with the best possible script I can have. And all that requires is overhead for me to live. So the actual development that you require to get in your hands the most important tool that will open up this entire world of feature filmmaking, that script, all you need to do is just get by and spend as much time as possible getting it as perfect as it can be. That doesn't mean it's the final product, because I can tell you, going through the process with Greenberg, going through the process with Telefilm, their script analysis and their analysts and their criticism, and they forced us to hire a story editor, which we didn't want to do, and then she was amazing. And this script got destroyed so many times. And I must have, it's become, we've done this a few times now, I really must have done about 200 full rewrites over the course of 3.5 years of the script.
Having already done the short, and know the story in a sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I knew the beginning, middle, and end for sure, and that was not negotiable. I knew it worked for me. So this is just the mechanics within. And this is up to and including, for day -1 of principal photography, the night before, still rewriting, and then throughout you're still rewriting. So the idea is, though, that I do this to this day now. I like the project that I have right now. It's a science fiction project going through Greenberg and Telefilm. That was one of the first scripts I started. I started writing that in 2001. For 3 years, I've really, really spent a lot of time on the script. And then I realized, okay, it wasn't ready, and I couldn't figure it out. And then to the point where I was not comfortable showing it to the industry yet. And then in 2007, I picked it up again, and I went through a script workshop. This is after I finished Elmo. And that workshop destroyed the script like 50 times. And then hired the same story editor, again destroyed again. Finally started going through and my producer on this project, who was so good at destroying scripts. So I couldn't.
It's a fine art.
It is a fine art. You do it properly. And the thing is, if you're gonna amass a team, like if I'm gonna work with Avi, I've got to convince him, right? Like you had to convince him the project was good. And so if you say, oh, it's got potential, well, you got to make sure He believes in that potential, so that when you go out in the field and you're fighting together, you're fighting the same battle. If you start, even if you're 1 degree off, wait what happens in a year. when
Did
you're
you hear
50
that?
and you're 50 degrees off.
Pay attention to that.
But then you work for him.
But I have seen teams who are making 2 different films.
I'm sure,
Right.
the projects you've done.
Yeah.
And you probably, they don't even know it sometimes.
Yeah,
Like,
sometimes,
you
yeah.
see the seeds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So for me to convince a producer that they're gonna go to the mat on this, it sometimes takes me a year. Of they come back with rewrites and I gotta do it, and I'm like, we haven't even started yet. This is still negative time. So by the time we show it to these guys, we've done the absolute best we can. And then when they come in with their perspective, it's a new perspective, wow. And usually very clever. So it makes it better. Point is, even to this day, after going through this full feature film, start to finish, after working with Harpo, working with Disney on script work, and I think I'm on my 6th or 7th feature script right now. I'm still afraid. I'm still afraid to go into these guys unless the script is the best I can possibly do on my own with my immediate team. And that's a huge advantage you have. Nobody knows you're there. You're like a weapon that hasn't been used yet, hiding. So it doesn't matter if you spent 10 years or 2 years or 17 years on a script. They're just gonna look at it without your name and just say, is this good or not? And that's an asset. You have it.
Well, you know, I produced a film called George Riga's Movie Hills. The book got optioned 16 years before the movie started shooting by the writer, who was one of the producers as well. It was in development telefilm for 16 years. The movie was made for $1.2 million. The producer, the writer, and the director deferred everything. We will never see a penny. Plus I put in, and some of us put in our own money. I'm out tens of thousands of dollars. I will never see. But 16 years, Emotional Arithmetic, great films, Matt Cohen wrote. 8 years it took to make. I mean, you have to be willing to, as Richie said, like, however long it takes. And the movie doesn't get made if you have a terrible script. It's all about the script. The script gets you the money, it gets you the cast you want, it gets you the bells and whistles that you want, it gets you a great crew, everything. If you blow it at the script side, you're done. So, you know, and it's important to match yourself with a really strong, a good producer that believes in the material as much as you do and is willing to be by your side. It's a marriage that you've got to spend many, many years together going down the road to make a movie.